I mentioned in one of my previous videos about Audis that the current Audi R8 that's out now is a completely different car and intention produced by Audi than that of the first R8. And my preference is the original one, and I don't particularly like the new Audi R8. When the original Audi R8 came out, it was a completely unique car to anything else. Audi had fired this car out as its flagship to compete with that of the Porsche 911 and make a statement to the world that Audi was no longer third choice in line out of a Mercedes or a BMW. That Audi was up there. And the original Audi R8 was that statement that they pushed through. And it's probably why Audis are as nice as they are now and as brilliant as they are now. The look of the original Audi R8 was so unique and looked 10 years above the design of any of its competitors. As a kid, this car was a poster car. Older generations will talk about the Lambo Countach being on their wall. This was on mine and was on many other kids that are around my age. The wide body, the inverted curved front, the vents underneath the headlights at the front. You go to the side, those massive one-piece ducts on the side of the car that swoop down and form part of the doors. At the side made the profile incredible. You get to the back to see where the engine's mounted. You go beneath the brake lights and you've got those vents, make it look like gills. But it was all formed in this sweeping profile of the whole car. It was insane looking. There was much more going on in that than the design of a 911, which is who Audi were trying to steal customers off. It was original, it soon became class leading, and it was beautiful. The fact that it was this small, futuristic looking supercar, with first having a V8 in it before the V10 came, it was so special. And that was solidified in its use as product placement in the first Iron Man movie. And it does stand out in my mind every time I see one. And I think it did the same with that movie. And the success of that movie definitely helped that car. The car stood out within the garage of a Celine S7 and a Tesla Roadster as well. So I think that was a great move by Audi. The current R8 ruins all the unique design elements that it first had, like splitting the ducts on the side. On the back, it just goes to a flat, boring, fake vented back. The V10 mounting is offset. You go to the front of the car and it's trying to emulate the same grille that's on all of the other Audis into its flagship, when surely you try and make that unique. It goes away from everything, and even then it's not its own unique car, it's a Lamborghini Huracan underneath. And if you had the money to be spending on an R8, surely you'd want a Lambo Huracan over it. And that's the difference with the first R8, is it wasn't trying to be an entry-level supercar. It was trying to challenge that of a 911, because the general consensus is that a 911 isn't traditionally a supercar. It's top tier sports car before you go into entry level supercar territory. Whereas Audi suddenly changed it into, to save production costs of it, they just used majority of the parts from a Lamborghini and just sell it as an Audi product. When at the time, the Audi R8, when it first came out, was its unique car, and that's what led people to go to it. Whereas now it's a secondary option to a Lambo. And I just don't understand that choice of changing the market and changing the product. The reason why it was so successful to begin with is because it was a competitor to a relatively dominated market. With the look of it, which is now stripped away in the new one, it was beautiful. Surely you'd capitalise on the already loved nature of it and stick with what works and amend what's broken. They've not done that. And it's really disappointing to see, because it means that the actual desirable car now is one that's out of production. But this is one advantage, and I think this is going to change relatively soon, because I think people are going to realise you can pick up an original Audi R8 V8 for sub 40 grand. A brand new C-Class Mercedes with a couple of optional extras is the same price. If I was going to be doing that, the Audi R8's on my mind. But yeah, why should I be the voice of choosing which R8 is better? I drive a bloody white Fiesta.